Coming up next on Growing Chatham, I have a secret. Spring Ag Fest is coming back, and I'm going to give you all the details. After that, we're going to learn about the red-cockaded woodpecker and how a North Carolina State student is doing her best to make sure this bird never disappears. Then we're going to head to the grocery store to use an app that will save you money. It was developed by Iowa State University Extension. Last of all, we're going to have a history lesson on how World War I changed the way we farm today. All of this is coming up next on Growing Chatham. So let's get started. Welcome to Growing Chatham. I'm Tiffany Hancock, Marketing and Media Support Specialist for North Carolina Cooperative Extension, Chatham County Center. Spring Ag Fest, is coming back, and we are so excited. It's coming back March 25th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Some of you may wonder, what is Ag Fest? Well, I'm going to show you. Roll that video, please.
Good afternoon. Glad to see everybody out here today. It's a pretty day to be out here.
AgFest is somewhere that people can come and plug into the community of agriculture. This was our second annual Ag Festival. We had around 3,000 people come out this year.
One of our primers is to introduce a greater understanding of ag and increase that agricultural literacy. So we ended up having a little over 150 exhibitors. They were both indoor, outdoor, and livestock arena oriented.
And Buzz is a little 6-year-old gelding. And I think Buzz has been under saddle about 2 years now.
This is a wonderful way to display the variety of ag that we have here in Chatham County. We've got some larger traditional producers with regards to livestock.
Okay, so starting off our livestock events this afternoon, we have the Dairy Parade of Breeds.
But we've also got some smaller niche producers with organic and sustainable production as well, and I think that's also evidence here. And we also have a large green industry following, so we have a lot of folks in environmental resources and natural resources and forestry and landscaping that's also represented, and those are critical for Chatham County.
Lay him down, you gotta try to get him out! Come on! Good. There's so many people that has moved in around the Pittsburgh area. Ag Fest here in Pittsburgh is, it kind of gives them a chance to get around animals, see the horses, different breed of horses, different breed of cattle, be around the livestock part of farming, of agriculture.
We have an ice cream truck that comes out, and there's just plenty of food for everyone. There's $5 food vouchers given out by Farm Bureau, so you can present those to those food trucks and get $5 off of your meal. AgFest is a place for the large farm or the small farm. They can come to AgFest and educate the public about their product.
Agriculture is a big, big part of the tax base in Chatham County.
Chatham County brings in over $150 million in cash receipts, which is tremendous for our local economy.
It's our job to let the community know that farming is integral to our way of life.
We hope to see you at Spring Ag Fest, and if you are a vendor and interested in selling your products, just visit the Growing Chatham newsletter where you can access all the information. Just visit go.ncsu.edu/Growing Chatham 123. Now we're going to head down to the sandhills to find out about the red-cockaded woodpecker and how a North Carolina State student is doing her part to make sure this bird never disappears.
Today we are in the beautiful Sandhills Gamelands. We are here to basically find some red-cockaded woodpeckers. So we call this device a peeper pole, and what it does is that we have a camera up here. This pole extends until it reaches the cavity. Once we have it in there, it will allow us to see what is inside.
Lauren is part of an extensive team of researchers monitoring the endangered red-cockaded woodpecker in the Sandhills of North Carolina.
So I see 3 nestlings. Around day 20, I'll be able to come back and specifically see how many have a crown patch or not, and that will tell me how many males and how many females I have.
The data Lauren collects on this nest and others will be added to one of the longest ongoing vertebrate studies on the planet. In the early 1970s, the red-cockaded woodpecker was listed as a federally endangered species.
When monitoring began in 1980, population levels in the sandhills were relatively low.
Red-cockaded woodpeckers are in the sandhills because of the longleaf pine forest.
Red-cockaded woodpeckers are a unique species in that they excavate their cavities in live, old pine trees.
Specifically, the longleaf pine is one of the sappiest pine trees out there, and that's great for the RCW because they use the sap as a defense mechanism. They will drill resin wells into these trees, which will flow with sap. Their biggest predator is the black rat snake. What the rat snake will do is it'll try to climb the pine tree, it'll get sticky with sap, it'll fall to the ground, and it'll be sappy for a few days.
To gather data about red-cockaded woodpecker nesting success, Lauren also climbs these sappy trees, fortunately with the help of ladders and some other specialized equipment that helps her take baby birds out of the nest to add some fancy jewelry to their legs.
So we have our pullers, helps us pull out the nestlings.
Oh, hello. Hi. Hi.
So once we pull the nestlings, we want to check in the cavity to make sure that we got them all, to see also if there's any eggs present. Come back down the tree, band the chicks. So each group of birds has a specific band combo. We call it a clan combo. So they have 2 bands, an aluminum band and a color band on their right leg, and they have 3 bands on their left leg. Once we band them, we want to get a weight on them. So we put them in a little weight bag, get a weight. And once we do all that, we climb back up the tree, put the chicks back in. We try to do it butt first, and we try to do it with the heaviest chick first, because if we have a lighter chick, that way they might get, you know, the next bug that's coming in. We take our mirror and our light back out, put it back in, make sure that they're all down there safe and sound, and we climb back down the tree.
The colorful bands stay on the birds as they grow and allow researchers to follow specific birds as they leave the nest or fledge. They use high-powered scopes to spot the tiny leg bands.
Here they come. Incoming. Is that orange aluminum again? Big babies. Oh, there's number 2. That was dark green on the right.
Yes. So each cluster has their very own band combo. That's how we tell them apart. And each individual has a different color band on either leg.
Just 2 adults so far.
So far. Looks like a 3rd adult, aluminum over red.
Cool.
So we've counted 3 adults here so far.
There are more than just one pair of adults around this nest because red-cockaded woodpeckers are cooperative breeders.
So they have a very unique social system. They live in these family groups, which are made up of a breeder male, a breeder female, and what we call helpers.
Helpers are usually male, and they assist with everything from incubating the eggs to defending the territory, all in the hope that they might one day inherit it and have their own nest. For a longleaf pine tree to be the right size for a red-cockaded woodpecker nest, typically it needs to be about 100 years old, which can be hard to find.
Historically, through logging up until the beginning of the 1900s, almost the entire southeast was clear-cut for railroad, boat making, any number of things, turpentine. So now we're, say, 100 years post that main clearing in the southeast. We're getting a lot of trees that are coming into perfect age and internal structure where the birds can make their own natural cavities. To make a natural cavity, these birds have to excavate through the bark, a thin layer of cambium, the sapwood, and then excavate a cavity that's maybe 3 inches around by 7 inches deep in the heartwood of the tree. And that can take anywhere from 1 to 12 years to make one cavity.
One solution to help populations grow more quickly? Artificial nesting cavities.
This is an artificial cavity. It's one of the most important tools we have for bridging the gap between a younger forest that may have bigger trees and more of an old growth state where the birds can create their own cavities. This is installed in a rather large tree with a chainsaw, and the birds will take to these almost immediately. I've put them in before and had them use them that same night. They've been a crucial tool for getting us to this point in our recovery journey.
And it's an ongoing journey, although populations have improved significantly since the 1970s.
Since then, we've had really great conservation successes by growing the populations where we can do prescribed fire and artificial cavity work. But they are what's considered a conservation reliant species, and that all the work that we're doing is going to need to continue to happen going into the future.
Fire maintains longleaf pine ecosystems by clearing out the understory. Unique species in these forests, like this wiregrass, are specially adapted to rebound quickly after a fire. As work continues to be done to maintain their habitat, researchers like Lauren are starting to ask questions about how these birds will adapt to a changing climate.
Climate change research on the RCW is just sort of ramping up. There have been studies that have seen that there is a climate-induced shift in nesting earlier. With this climate-induced shift, we are seeing this increase in hatching failures and brood reduction.
Brood reduction means less chicks survive from each nest. Based on the trends they're seeing further south, researchers are worried populations in the sandhills will be impacted next.
It all goes back to the pine trees. They have to go where the living pine trees are. Looking at that and where the climate change is impacting them, they sort of kind of don't have a choice, because this is their home. They're endemic to this ecosystem. We just have to keep doing what we're doing with the monitoring and the management, and just keeping up the ecosystem of these birds.
Thanks y'all for watching this video, and if you want more where that came from, check out our channel, Sci&C.
As you know, food prices are just ridiculous right now. Somehow we have to make our dollars stretch just a little bit more, which can be tough. Iowa State University Extension created this app, Spend Smart, Eat Smart. They're going to show us how this works.
We named it Spend Smart, Eat Smart for a reason. We offer nutrition tips and recipes that'll make your taste buds and wallet smile. Use our app's unit price calculator to compare prices between similar products with different sizes, different forms, and different brands, so you can get more for your money at the grocery store. See you later, mental math in the cereal aisle. By finding the cost per ounce or whatever unit of measure, you get the best bang for your buck and you won't be tricked by sale signs. Just download the Spend Smart, Eat Smart app from the Apple or Android store and go to the unit price calculator on the homepage. Say you're trying to decide between fresh or frozen spinach. Type in the cost of the fresh spinach and the weight or volume of the product, in this case, 10 ounces. Then enter the same info for the bag of frozen on the other side. Ta-da! The cost per unit is automatically calculated and the best deal is determined. Congrats! Your cheesy lasagna just cooked up savings. Speaking of cheese, do you need to know if you should go with chunk or shredded? We've got you covered. Just keep in mind how much food your family eats before going to the register, because sometimes it makes more sense to buy small and avoid waste, even when it costs more per unit. And as appetites change, so do prices. So, pull up the app every time you shop, so you can spend smart and eat smart. Why not check us out before you hit the checkout?
I hope you download the app to your smartphone so the next time you go grocery shopping, you can save some money. You can download it from Google Play or from the Apple App Store. Okay, put on your thinking caps. It's time for our history lesson. So, how did World War I change the way we farm? Let's find out. Someone mailed this editorial to Siler City Grit way back in December of 1918. While I was reading this editorial, it's hard to believe that the future that this person was writing about is our reality. The World War brought many changes to families in so many ways, including the way that we farmed. Here's an excerpt from the Siler City Grit. During the new year, many will be taking advantage of the things that they have learned during the war. We have learned so much efficiency, time and labor saving, cutting out waste, and all that. Think of all the modern machinery we have developed and learned to use during the past labor shortage. The electrical equipment, which is getting to be a part of the regular farm outfit, even in remote sections. As a matter of fact, the growth of the use of electricity in farm homes is one of the most important incidents of the past 2 years as far as agricultural development goes. The farm family that does not start the new year either with the modern equipment that means so much in way of labor saving and contentment, or with the stern determination to have it before the end of another year, has missed one of the biggest lessons of the age. The world is not going to settle back into the old self-satisfied state in which the World War founded 4 years ago. People who mean to keep pace with the times in the city or the farms must be equipped for rapid motion. For all opinions seem to agree that the next few years are going to witness the greatest period of development, agricultural and otherwise, that the world has ever known. Modern machinery, electrical devices, all the inventions that the necessities of the past few years have brought forth, these things are to play a valuable part in the development that is to start right away, or that has already started. The man who overlooks the importance of these aids to modern progress is going to find the wheels of that same progress running over him beyond a doubt, while to him that catches the spirit of the times and determines to keep in the race, using the means that afford, success is assured. From the Siler City Grit, December 26th, 1918.
It was a time of transition, and the families who went from horses to tractor horsepower witnessed the birth of mechanization on the farm. And while sons were anxious to get on that first tractor, most fathers were reluctant to let go of their dependable team of horses.
My father liked horses. He was very good with horses. He continued using horses long after many others had shifted to tractor power. He had arguments why horses were superior. You could grow their feed. You couldn't grow gasoline, but you could grow feed for horses. You could raise your replacement horses. They didn't cause compaction of the soil.
My dad never liked to drive a tractor. He thought it was simple when I got mine in '37. And I told him, well, you can drive it and see how nice it is. And so he drove it a couple times around the field, but he says you got to watch where you're going all the time when you're driving the tractor. The horses, when they come to the end, they'd turn around themselves and go back the other way. So he thought that was that simple. He never drove a tractor after that at all.
A team of horses could do things a tractor couldn't do, such as pulling a wagon while the driver was hand-picking corn. The farmer merely had to make a sound with his teeth to move the horses forward and then yell, "Whoa!" when they were to stop. It was inconvenient to have to stop, get on the tractor, pull it ahead, and then resume picking corn.
This one Saturday he told us if we went out and helped pick all the corn and put in piles, finish picking it, that he'd buy us a dime carton of ice cream. And at that time, a dime carton was, heaping pint. And so we went out there and really worked hard that Saturday morning and got our dime ice cream.
It was hard work, but it was always a lot of fun to go with Dad when he was doing the shucking of the corn. And if you didn't do it right, he'd give you one row He'd take 2 rows, and if you was slowing down, he'd once in a while that ear of corn would hit you up the side of the head and make you speed up a little.
And the horses, they didn't travel very fast, you know, and when we cultivated corn, we cultivated 1 row at a time, 3 times. And now, the renter farms my farm, they don't do any plowing, they just put chemicals on it to kill the weeds. That's all they do.
The increased mechanization of agriculture has made farmers more independent of each other. As tractors and combines and big round balers made their way into the fields, old customs were pushed out. Neighbors no longer rely on one another as they once did. Extra hands are no longer needed to get the work done. The technology of power, the technology of equipment, the technology of seeds have utterly transformed the countryside, and it has altered farmed neighborhoods as well. Today, for better or worse, rural America has a new face.
Well, that's it for January's Growing Chatham. Don't forget to visit the newsletter by visiting go.ncsu.edu/Growing Chatham 123. And sign up to join our email list. You can find that at the very bottom of the newsletter. I'll be back next month. Until then, take care. I'm Tiffany Hancock for North Carolina Cooperative Extension, Chatham County Center. Bye.